it is my great pleasure to be with you today. Namaste. Namaste. There should be an international outcry on behalf of persecuted Hindus, especially the Hindus of Kashmir. But there is not. There is not. Even the government of India is reluctant, understandably, but not acceptable, reluctant to take on the growing militant jihad in your midst, in the midst of the world. So today, there's only one refugee group that matters. It's not Kashmir. It's not think of all the displaced people who are refugees. The world only cares about a state refugee group, the 5 generations, the Palestinians, who really are Syrians, Egyptians, Jordanians, and the entire United Nations, which is a collection of tyrannies, turned back on every refugee group, including those from Kashmir, who are, as I understand it, are nearing extinction. The UN only cares about the Palestinians. And I am Jewish, and I come from a people that has a long history of yearning to return to our religious roots, to the places where our ancestors once lived. And I'm not saying, therefore, it should be no Muslims allowed. The point is that people should tolerate each other and live in peace. And that has not been possible. Now, as you may know, Western universities and Western thought has grown very politically correct, and in a way that only George Orwell or Lewis Carroll could fully understand. The world is quite simply upside down, like Alice in Wonderland, or like Orwell, not all seeds are equal. So in the democratic West, and in Israel, and in India, where freedom and a free press, and freedom of religion, and separation of religion and state, with a concept of human rights, including women's rights, all of these are highly valued virtues. And now they are demonized as quintessentially evil. The countries that practice these values are considered evil, and we are accused of being colonialist, imperialist, racist, apartheid, and engaged in occupation of all time. Now, this is something that even Indians know a big deal about, those of you especially who have to live in Kashmir safely and not engage it. When one tries to talk about Islamic gender and Islamic religious apartheid, when one tries to talk about the history of Islamic imperialism, of colonialism, of slavery, or racism and genocide, one is called a racist in the West, and you will lose your job, you will lose your friends, and life. Dr. Spaulding will be dismissed from Harvard if you try to tell the truth about the occupation that Muslims have undertaken, and not all Muslims are terrorists, and many Muslims wish to live in peace. On the other hand, I must note that there were good Germans during the Nazi period, but they did not risk losing their lives to resist Hitler, and therefore 6 million of my people and 11 million people were exterminated. And the good people didn't take a chance and look the other way or stop it. It was opportunity. So, if you're a truth teller, and you tell the truth about what Muslims have done, for example, 8 million Hindus persecuted, as you well know, over a 5-century period, a number that's unimaginable. and the UN is not noticing it, and no one is remembering this history. If you talk about it, you'll be called in Europe, you're committing a assault crime or a hate crime, and you may be put on trial in Austria or in Scandinavia or in Holland on trial for trying to tell the truth about what's happening in terms of Islamic genocide. And it's not just the Islamists who are offended, it is their Western politically correct supporters who are even more offended and who then consider the truth a provocation. And we live in a world where only Muslims are allowed to be offended. Everyone else, it's okay. You can criticize, you can tell big lies. So today, I know because I have friends who live in India. I have a friend who runs an orphanage for girls and in India. And so she's telling me about the illegal immigration from Bangladesh, from Pakistan. And it's not just illegal immigration, it's an immigration that is a river, terrorists flow in the river, and criminals, petty criminals, are flowing into India on this river. And the government is too afraid, and the police are too afraid, they're too corrupt to stop it, or to take it on, or to pass serious reforms dealing with it. And this is happening, by the way, all over Europe. So, and as you know better than I, the Muslims who are doing this will kidnap and rape and forcibly convert and then marry young young girls. And there are a handful of heroes who are rescuing them. I have talked with such heroes. I'm thinking of Chapandos as one. And my people, the Jews, were indeed persecuted, genocidally exterminated. Sometimes we flourished and some of us flourished a little bit. Namely, we suffered, but we never gave up our longing for our holy land and for our religion. And through religious practices and prayer and in our culture that we created in exile, we continue to long for a return to Jerusalem. The Muslim Middle East can't abide a single Jewish thing in the world. In its midst, not a single one is tolerated. So Israel, as you know, is under existential siege since its birth in 1948. That's a very interesting year for us to contemplate. And the Israelis are scapegoated for the sins and crimes that the Muslims and the Arabs are committing, with huge persecution of Christians in the world at this time as well. Well, some say that the Arab Spring has become an Islamist winter, and others. I just read a piece by Amir Tahiri, and he's saying, yes, but they're still now voting. People, not God, is in charge, however corrupt. He's making some interesting points about we should not give up all hope about the so-called Arab Spring. Kashmiri Hindus are not welcome in Kashmir. They have to flee a terrible persecution which was funded by Pakistan. And as I understand it, there are 2,000 to 3,000 Kashmiris left living in Kashmir, who are Hindus, who are under profound siege. And again, the United Nations hasn't weighed in on this. So, as I thought about it, I thought Kashmir, which has been so treacherous and so difficult to understand, and something that the world has been resistant to as well, and it's a hot button issue because it is a symbol of Muslim genocide and Muslim imperialism. It is a very symbol of it. And that is why Dr. Swami called the Indian government to revoke Article 370. And because it represents a policy of appeasement. Understandably, the Maharaja is in charge of the Constitution that is paid, the Indian government chose not to be visited. Nevertheless, it is that burning symbol that the Muslims will not live with Hindus, or Jews, or Christians, or Buddhists, or Zoroastrians. And to say so, as I said, is a growing thought on courage in the West. Now, the shame it causes in terms of the dismissal of that two Romanian Swami, and I've written 2 pieces now about it because it's really unbelievable. 20 years he's teaching at Harvard, and he writes one article this past summer after the second massacre in Mumbai, the second major Islamic massacre in Mumbai, and he says, listen, we have to stand up. And he dared to say for a Hindu mindset, although as you may know, he also understood the trance under death because Muslim youth were being murdered by Hindu priests, and he was surveilling. And he had a Muslim son-in-law, and a Parsi wife, and a Christian sister-in-law. And he has been dismissed by Harvard because of one article that he wrote calling for a collective mindset and a Hindu mindset. And he called on Muslims to join this mindset that would free Kashmir, that would make it open for Hindus, not just Muslims. So he has there to point out the crimes committed by Muslims, all these commit crimes, and not every individual in the group is a criminal or is in favor of it. But he's calling for self-defense, something that Israel understands very well. He's calling for self-defense. He's calling for fight-back spirit. He's calling for don't hit this anymore spirit. And it was enormous credit, as I looked into his biography. He was the highest ranking of Indian official who visited Israel in 1982, and it led to the normalization of relations between India and Israel, a very, very important alliance. Committee. I'm reminded, I can't resist, I'm taken with a quote by Gandhi. And if one needs to be slow to form conviction, but once formed, they must be defended against the heaviest harm. And David Ben-Gurion, first Israeli Prime Minister, said, in a way similar, that courage is a special kind of knowledge. The knowledge of how to fear what ought to be feared, and how not to fear what ought to be feared. So you read quotes from great souls. I wish you a blessed, fruitful conference that leads to change and understanding. It's my honor. So send me a link to this. I'll post it. I would love to have a link to the whole conference.